War Room Nation, it's your brother B. Austin. What's good? We are here for episode 247 of your favorite sports podcast and show, The War Room. March Madness 2015 is upon us. We give you our Sweet 16 review and picks. We talk about the sad case of Darren Sharper. We jump into NBA topics, in which case we'll tell you that Chris Paul thinks that you must have forgot who the best point guard in the world is. Steve Nash retires, and much, much more as Fred Perdue joins us to give you a rundown of NCAA football in the spring. So sit back, relax, grab some Evian water while our thoughts get published. Thanks for joining in.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the War Room. We got Dev.
Call me Daddy.
Kill. Jimmy. PJ. B. Austin, the hot block commander. Give it to you how you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Bold with the topics, sort of like some rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerate speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4th and 26th, so the war in Kuwait. It's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.
Yup. Sports fans, what up? And welcome back to the flagship. You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on that WRS Podcast Network. I'm Devin McMillan. I'm here at the round table with the sports guys, Jimmy the Blueprint Williams and B. Austin. We got a great show for you guys today. The madness of March has been whittled down to 16 teams. So we'll revisit our busted ass brackets and do a Sweet 16 reset as we pick the 8 teams who will move on to the Elite 8. We'll also get some college football spring news from Fred Perdue of collegefootballextra.com and much more. So strap in, keep it locked in the War Room. And if you want to get in on the live conversation, join us right now in the JW Philly Realty chat room at blogtalkradio.com/the War Room, or join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly when we open up the Digital Extreme Technologies hotline in about 30 minutes. And as usual, that number is 323-410-0012. Reminder, when we're not live on the air, we want to make sure you guys visit warroomsports.com. Click on the WRS Podcast Network tab to listen to some of the great talk radio by our network partners. You can listen to the Broad Street Line, After Further Review, the Tissue and the Tape Hip Hop Show, Sports Trap Radio, the Mad Scientist Sports Lab, our newest show, Bump and Run, for all you NASCAR heads out there, and a whole lot more. The network is also on iTunes, and you can also check the listings over at fatsradio.com. That's PHATZ radio.com for airtimes of all your favorite WRSPN sports shows, including our show, The War Room, which airs Sundays and Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Sweet 16, fellas. What y'all brackets looking like, man? or at least, or how you looking in our bracket pool? I forgot to
man, busted and disgusted. That's one and the same right there, champ. Busted and disgusted.
Yo, it's too difficult. It's too difficult for me. So I just say Kentucky's gonna win it all and leave it at that.
The Monstars, we call them the Monstars.
All right, well, that's cool. You know, we do this for a living, so we get to live on air. We get to reset our brackets. And we'll just pick from the Sweet 16 as if we never lost a game in the tournament. So we'll give our Sweet 16 picks later and tell everybody who's going to make it to the Elite 8. Sweet 16 actually tips off in about an hour and 10 minutes from now. I think the first game is Wichita State versus Notre Dame. And then a little while after that tip off on another channel, you're going to have North Carolina versus Wisconsin. Speaking of North Carolina, man, did y'all hear about Dean Smith? They read off his will recently. Remember, he died last month. In his will, he left $200 to every letterman who ever came through his program. So that's about 180 players. He left them all $200. That would include Michael Jordan. What y'all think Mike gonna do with that $200 check?
Buy a cigar, bet with it. Probably bet on the pool game.
That's going right back on tonight's Carolina game, champ.
Put 200 on Carolina. I don't even know, Mike. He'll bigger better than that. I don't know what he gonna do with that.
Yeah. That ain't his spread, though. It's something to be said for that. I know people like look at that and say, oh, "What's he gonna do with 200?" Yo, he ain't had to give nobody nothing, man. The fact that he had that thought,
exactly.
Nobody in life owes you nothing.
Yo, I think it's hot. I think that's hot.
Because think about it, a lot of them dudes were rich probably before he wrote that will. So it's just the thought that counts. Yeah. The old cliche that stands in this situation is the thought that counts. I know his family.
I did read that story, but I was trying.
I could have used some extra dough.
I was trying to figure out whatever kind of dough he left. I was trying to figure out what kind of net worth Dean Smith had. You know what I mean? Just because I'm new to Chatty Patty, I was trying to figure that out.
Well, you're not gonna figure it out from that because 200 times 180. I mean, I got that right now.
Yo, in honor of Dame Dash. In honor of Dame Dash, man. Yo, men don't talk about other men's pockets, B.
Yo, Dame was damn lie. Anyway, listen, man, you don't never wonder about weird people in sports net worth, college coaches.
Look it up sometimes.
Yo, here's the funny thing.
Dame Dash.
I had this experience with Google today. Sometimes you know how you Google a random person and the first thing that pops up is like net worth. It's like, who the hell is wondering about these people's net worth? But I guess it's not just me.
Yo, the funny part.
They got a website called Net Worth. They got a website called Net Worth. You can look up anybody's net worth.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Wrong half the time now. It's always wrong.
Gotta be wrong. But the thing about it is, one thing I can say about this is you never know somebody's net worth. You know what I'm saying? You just don't know.
That's heftier than I thought though, because y'all know my math has always been terrible. Jimmy know that from all the way back in the day. But I just whipped out the calculator. That's about $36,000. I mean, it's not a lot for somebody who's rich if he indeed was rich, but it's not something to sneeze at. I mean, he is dead though, so you can't take it with him. But if I'm one of his kids,
sneaker companies.
Yeah, if I'm somebody in his family, I'm like, you gotta get that 36 to me. They cool. Well, most of them, some of them might be on that stuff, but that's
especially consider everybody know that the sneaker companies run basketball. Period. That's a side note.
Shout out to Sonny Vaccaro. All right, so let's talk about what happened this week while everybody was on the grind. While y'all were on the grind, as usual, it's brought to you by DirecTV. If you like a better TV experience than cable has to offer, including that NFL Sunday ticket, go to our website, warroomsports.com, click on the DirecTV logo, order yourself a better TV experience at a discounted War Room Sports sign-up rate. If you call yourself a sports fan, then you got to have DirecTV. I don't even think I told you, brothers, man. I had one of the saddest days in my history this past weekend because I had to call DirecTV and downgrade my package. Y'all know why, but I got rid of all my movie channels, man. It's all good though. Jimmy make sure I'm good in the movie department.
Yo, Dev be drawn when it comes to cable though. Dev, in my entire life, has always had the highest cable bill. Like he has every channel, every premium, every sport. Dev cable bill is $400 a month.
That's why I had to make some changes, man. I had to make some changes.
Yo, when we were broke in college, Dev had more TV than anybody else, and we was never home. We was always open. I'm like, yo, how you got this much TV?
But we watched. Everybody gathered up. We watched all the NBA package and all that. Like everybody got to see their team. You know what I mean?
Dev will literally skip a mortgage payment to make sure his DirecTV bill paid.
I've done it
based on some in-family WL. I'm glad you down.
You've done it.
Glad you downgraded the package. Pause.
You've done it.
You got to downgrade this package.
It's one of those responsible things, man. Once I've been an adult for a long time, and I'm just now doing something responsible. But like Jimmy said, I've done some very irresponsible things and prioritized my DirecTV bill over a whole lot of stuff that should have got paid before it. But I'm a TV head, man.
Tell the electric company
and even though everything they play on those 30 movie channels that I had, everything they play, I have access to thanks to the blueprint. But it's different when you can just, when you're bored, you can just, skip through and see something on and you just start watching it. Even the shows that I record, I can't record them now. I have to remember to actually go and watch them now.
Here's my thing. I've downgraded over the last several years. I've downgraded cable tremendously, and it's to the point now. I'm thinking, at the end of this year, I might get the whole thing up. Shout out to the internet for making everything available. I appreciate all y'all out there on the internet.
I just be feeling embarrassed when y'all be having these movie and TV conversations, and I really can't add nothing in outside of the cliche movies, and
you just ain't got the time.
Yeah,
I can't watch as much TV as you.
I mean, I don't have the time either. I just watch TV while I'm doing everything else. So if I do some stuff for the company and it's wrong and it looks stupid, it's probably because I was watching TV.
I got CTE. I can't do more than 3 things at one time.
Only thing I enjoy now, real on TV is like 30 for 30. Like, we talk a lot of trash about the 4 letters, but I think it's one of the best things they've done over the last several years.
Yeah, 30 for 30 is the truth. I just watched like 6 of them in the past week because I had them piled up on the
Shout out the Clink Scales, yo.
Did y'all see the Christian Laettner job?
I'm 2 away from that. I gotta watch the one before that, and then I'm watching them in order. I just saw Rand University like 2 days ago. Like, I'm real late.
That's already on Netflix though.
All right, well, this is a story, fellas, that you might see a 30 for 34 down the line. Your man Darren Sharper a few days ago, he changed his plea in his case for drugging and raping women. Monday, he pleaded no contest in Los Angeles, and the other places, I think it was 4 states: Louisiana, California, Nevada, and Arizona. Those other 3 places, he was going to change his plea to guilty as well. But so far from Los Angeles, I think the Arizona one was the first one he actually changed his plea, and he ended up getting 9 years. So I don't know when it's all said and done how many years he's actually going to do in jail, but he's basically throwing in the towel. Like, okay, I did this, because nobody's going to cop to this type of crime if they didn't do it. You're going to fight this tooth and nail, especially since he has a few dollars, or he's supposed to. What do you guys think, man? I mean, I know how we thought about it when it first dropped, but now he's changing his plea to basically to guilty. Like, what's up with dude, man?
Honestly, man. Go ahead, Jimmy. No, go ahead, bro.
All right, what I was gonna say is this: like, it may be a situation where the evidence is stacked against him. But the thing is, by you pleading guilty, you have to basically go in court and say you've done that. Now, I do know, in terms of the criminal justice system, a lot of times people take pleas, even in cases as crazy as rape, murder, whatever it may be, because they look at the evidence pointed against them and what they'll get. But with him having so many different cases and all over the country, it's like, it's kind of crazy, man. Like Darren Sharper was and not just, I hate using this terminology, but you guys understand what I'm saying when I say this. He was a well-spoken guy who worked in the media. He had a bright future in media. So it's like this dude through this, it's a shame. It's a sad story. But at the end of the day, there's victims in this, man. And for him to plead guilty with so many other cases out there looming, man, it does make you look at him sideways, Dev. But I do know, like, some brothers fighting the system. Yeah, there's tons of lessons in this, Austin.
Yeah. There's so many lessons in this, man, because I already, one of the things that we are unofficially about here at the War Room is no Richard Eaton, no Richard riding. So you'll be hard pressed to find us hero worshiping unless it's, truly an icon. And so Darren Sharper definitely wasn't one of those type of dudes, but I admired his career and him as a player. And when he took the helmet off, like, he was one of those guys where, I can't speak to how a lady perceived him, but at the very least, as Jimmy said, he was well-spoken, he was articulate. Suit game was reasonable by comparatively speaking to some of the other coons that we see on TV that they focus on. For him to do this, there's some deep psychological problems, right? And so I understand, Jimmy, what you were saying when you say, okay, well, you're fighting the system. It doesn't mean that you're even guilty because you take a plea. It could be that you don't have the resources to fight it, the evidence points against you, whatever it could be, you're in. But when you have a pattern that can be established where you're being accused of the same thing by multiple people that are unrelated, then there's some validity to what you're being accused of. So for me, it's like, all right, here goes another dude where it's like what you see or how you perceive him doesn't even matter, because it definitely isn't about him not being able to get the yams. There's a true psychological and spiritual problem with the dude. And you know, my sympathy and empathy lies with the victims, and you know, this can't replace whatever it is that he took from them, but he deserves to burn in hell if he's guilty of this, man. That's just real.
Now be also what you're saying. You made a great point about it being like a pattern and things like that, and I agree with you. So it points to something being there, or him being framed or railroaded. But then I think, who the hell is framing or railroading Darren Sharper? That's like who's out to get Darren Sharper? And you're right. Like, for him, it has to be a sickness if indeed he did do this, because, I know chicks that would, smash Mike Sharper. Who's Mike Sharper? Nobody. But the point is, anybody can get yammed. So this dude to be an ex-NFL athlete, to have a, what seemed to be a successful career, it had to be something psychological there. And, like I said, I also, my sympathy is with the victims, and I hope this brother gets help. Or, I'm not going to say burn in hell like B. Austin, but it's just a sad situation overall. There's no winners in this.
Yeah, I'm
condemning it.
Definitely with y'all. Like, it's weird to me because, like you guys said, he was a pretty good dresser. He's well spoken. He had a future. From every woman that I used to talk to, when dude was on TV, by all accounts, he's not a bad looking dude. So you ask, why does a dude like that have to do this? And I actually spoke with some women about this because I wanted to see, because I can't speak from the male perspective, but some women with experience was basically telling me, like, dudes like that just like to have a certain power. And this is if he did this stuff. Dudes like that like to have a certain power over women. Like, even if they don't have a problem getting women, they have to have a certain power over women, even if they can't get them. Because if you think about it, some of this stuff happened in like hotel rooms, this and that. So he got women where he wanted to get them. So maybe some of this stuff just wasn't necessary, but it's something psychologically wrong with this dude. But as far as the plea goes, what did you say?
I'll say either that or he had problems from his childhood. Maybe his uncle snuck in his bedroom at night or something, and he never got over it. Something crazy happened. But he was facing 33 years if convicted on all counts. So, okay, pleading down to where all in all you might end up serving 9 years, 15 years, something way less than 33. I see that, but I still only see that if you're guilty of something. Like, if I'm not guilty of something, but like Jimmy said, the evidence points a certain way and it's making me look a certain way. Okay, I may plead guilty if it's a type of case where I'm going to get probation. I ain't pleading guilty for 9 years. I'm not going to jail. I ain't 18 months maybe.
Look,
I ain't doing 9 for something that I didn't do. Do a couple months.
I can keep it real and go even further than that. I'm a plea with certain types of charges, but when you're accused of this, I mean, let's keep it 100 million.
That's a great point.
Like, this is the type of thing, like with us,
because you're gonna be on that list.
Still make fun of Ben. Yeah, we make fun of Ben Roethlisberger, Ben Raplesberger. We make fun of Kobe. We make fun of a lot of people, probably in bad taste. You guys, some folks probably don't appreciate our humor, but like, these guys were let off. Like, they didn't even fit. This is not something to play with. Like, charges, plead. If I get caught with 40 keys in the back, I'm if I can plead a way out of it, because you guys get where I'm going with it. I'm not pleading.
Yeah, I know. You're absolutely right, man.
Sexual assault. I'm not.
Crazy situation,
I'm fighting that all the way for the honor.
He could have taken a deal where he just snitched on his homies, not done no jail time. Doing 9.
At this point, the NFL has more people incarcerated than BMF, yo. Like, it's kind of ridiculous right now, man.
All right, yo. So
free
man,
me.
we'll
Free
keep
me.
an eye on that, man.
Shout out Blue
Yo,
Da Vinci.
this is what else happened this week, man. Y'all know Monet Davis, the superstar female pitcher from the Little League World Series and Philly team. I mean, I don't even have to say that. You just say Monet Davis. Everybody knows who she was.
Yeah.
Remember, for God's sake, I didn't know she had a book. I was in Barnes and Noble the other day. Remember, I texted you guys a photo of her book. Like, yo, she has a book out. How you got an autobiography when you've lived like less than a quarter of your life? But anyway,
live for like 15 minutes.
A Bloomsburg, and that's a university, a small university in Pennsylvania. For those who don't know, Bloomsburg, PA University, baseball player Joey Castleberry. He's been thrown off the team after tweeting the other day. He said, Disney is making a movie about Monet Davis. What a joke. That slut got rocked by Nevada. So, he calls her a slut. It gets back to the school, of course. The tweet gets deleted. You know how it goes. Y'all know how it goes. And the apology was given the next day. I didn't mean that. I'm a big fan of hers. Yeah, whatever, dude. So he gets kicked out. And they asked Monet Davis about it because she was doing the rounds at ESPN that day because she's promoting her book and they are telling people about the movie that's coming out, blah, blah, blah. And she kind of takes the high road on him. She said, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone deserves a second chance. I know he didn't mean it in that type of way. I know people get tired of seeing me on TV, but sometimes you got to think about what you're doing before you do it. It hurt on my part, but he hurt even more. If it was me, I would want to take it back. I know how hard he's worked. Why not give him a second chance? So what do y'all think about first the tweet, and then what do you think about her because she's like she's becoming a folk hero, and this just did wonders for her public relations.
I've been having dialogue on social media. Shout out to the Facebook group and the Disconnect because they were having a really powerful discussion on this. And first, there's Monet Davis herself. At 13 years old, you're intelligent enough to reason. Some kids are a little bit more articulate than others, but you're aware of the world, and you're still innocent. You're still beautiful in that innocence, but that innocence is headed to a cliff at 100 miles an hour at that point in your life. So for her, just her, I salute her. I respect her for her empathy, even if it's not sincere. That was a huge stand for her to take. And her handlers and the people that advise her realize that because she looks like this adds to her legacy and legend. So it's a great look. It's a great look. So again, it could be that that's not her sincere feeling. I don't know. But to be 13 and thrust into the spotlight like she is, to be able to respond in that manner, kudos to her. Definitely respect it. Another perspective of this is, why is it that when white people in America make these statements, a large contingent of black people are always ready to turn the other cheek? Like, there are people that just like myself, we're congratulating her and applauding her for the stance. And as a human being, I appreciate it. I understand it. But those that are behind her could have taken the time to craft a statement that addressed the racism that she, as a young little black girl in the public eye, representing a ton of other young black girls, millions throughout the world, are facing, and that a white boy can come out and say something like that. And that's what black women face in the media. So I like the fact she took the high road, but I wish that his statement was addressed, because he's symbolic of what a lot of people in this country feel about black womanhood. And
I think that
I would have
his
liked
comment
to
was
that
rooted in racism, Jim?
No,
it was rooted
no,
in
it wasn't
Yeah,
racist. It was just insensitive. It wasn't racist. It was just insensitive to her and who she is.
Let me jump in and say that one point B. Austin made, which is absolutely correct, is the African American woman is like degraded and talked down to in mass media, and a lot of times by ourselves, including African American men. But in terms of this particular case, she did take the high road. We know that, she has amazing handlers. And, I was having a conversation with myself, but yes, I do have some of the best conversations with myself, because I have like this internal fight a lot of times when it comes to athletes taking a high road. Like, we have the one on the one hand, you look at it like, well, it's not sincere, it's crafted, but there's nothing wrong with that. Anytime we say that, that's not sincere, it's crafted, everyone always makes that, they look at that in the pejorative, as opposed to saying, listen, there's a way to conduct yourself in public. And I was kind of proud of her, and in essence, the way she handled this and the way she's carrying herself.
Yeah. No, Jimmy, I just want to be clear on my statement. I give her, at 13 years old, I give her a pass, whether it was crafted or not. It was the right thing to do. And a part of her apology, one of the problems I have, is it kind of bothered me that she almost sounded apologetic about how much others see her on television. Girls in our culture are taught that they should never take up for too much space. Like, she has a right to be in the position she's in. Go ahead.
Here's the point I was getting to. For one, we are the most forgiving people in the world. No one forgives people of color. Like,
amen.
We are the most forgiving in the world. You know what I mean? But here's the internal struggle I have. Like I said, I was proud of her, right? So sometimes, right, we see people who carry themselves, quote unquote, the right way, do the right things, and you take a sense of pride in that as an African American. But the struggle I have with, like, sometimes I'm like, why am I that proud? That's the way we should act. You know what I mean? It's like I find myself, like, I've been conditioned to look at my people in such a way that I'm proud when they do things that they should do. So it's like I have an internal struggle with myself. Like, I'm proud of her, but I'm like, why should I be that proud? That's what you should do. That's the way you should talk.
Right.
But I can admit, I'm very self-aware, so I can admit that shit is part of my condition. Like, I have this internal struggle myself.
Yeah.
But so a lot of thoughts came across my mind with the story. It was deeper than just his tweet, but it also shows people that, listen, man, what you do on Twitter can come back to you if somebody wants it to, because I'm pretty sure somebody snitched on him. A lot of you people out there tweeting all kinds of craziness, and you think your job or whoever doesn't care, it's because somebody snitched on you. When they come to get you, they're going to get you. Yeah. Be careful. That's all.
Yeah. Once you get in the scope, once you get in that target.
What are your thoughts? What are your feelings and impressions on this?
I mean, y'all basically said it all. Like, I had the back and forth with people, and like Jimmy, like, just in my own mind of, I was trying to get to the root of the comments in the first place. Like, okay, why would he say this? Is it one of those things where you're just trying to say something in jest? Was it something that you were saying, rooted in racism, sexism, or just comedy and bad taste? Whatever it was, it got him in trouble. She did take the high road, like you guys said, whether it was crafted or not. Because think back to when we were 13, 14 years old. Even if somebody said something crazy to us, or about our female family member, or just anything along those lines, even if there was somebody, I mean, we didn't have as much to lose as she does, but even if somebody more responsible tried to tell us to take it this way, or say this in public, it would have been hard to get us to do that. So no matter how she felt,
absolutely,
she said the right things, and that's a great thing. Yeah. I mean, she even if she has handlers who are great at what they do, she understands as well that she has a lot going for herself to lose. So why stoop to the level of this ignorance and play to it? So kudos to her, man. But we gotta.
I definitely kudos. Yo, Bloomberg ain't that far from Philly, so he might have ran into. You know what I'm saying?
Some big beers, guys.
Yo, Jimmy sent us this video the other day, and it was crazy, man. Mexican wrestler Hijo del Perro Aguayo. I know I said that all wrong. Yo, this guy died in the ring from a kick, and the match was just going on because
from Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, so the match keeps going on. Yo, what did you guys think about this? I don't know if everybody out there saw this, but look it up. It's big news. It's viral. The video is out there. So, he gets kicked in the face and he's slumped over the ropes, and the fight is still going on while trainers, managers, or whoever are standing ringside trying to wake the dude up. And then, once they take him away, they can't revive him. So what did you guys think when you actually saw that video?
I mean, first off, shout out to Rey Mysterio, legend. And one of the more entertaining guys to participate in as what my granddad like to call wrestling, to associate it from wrestling. But
Rey Mysterio is the one who kicked him, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, Ray kicked him.
Yeah.
Ray kicked him. What do you got, that plaster of Paris in his shoes?
My thing is watching how everything just continued. Like my man is not sitting there like dead. To me, that was the craziest part of this video. And the thing is, this probably happens more often, the more often than we see. But now, with everything being recorded, like with Big Brother literally being each other, we get glimpses into things that we probably was never seen before. I'm pretty sure the other guys that died in the ring, that we just haven't seen. But that was crazy to me to see them continue to match. Like, all right, well, leave him over there. We got we got to finish this. We at work right now. To me, that was the craziest part of this whole thing, man. And rest in peace to the dude. Just trying to put some food in his family, and now he's not with us.
They menaced him now. They old-dogged him. We got to do that another time. Like, come on, yo.
Yeah, we got to do that another time. Like,
he did. Like, it was crazy. You saw the video, B?
All of y'all that say that wrestling isn't real, this is pretty. This is pretty real.
Yeah.
It was a freak accident.
Yeah, it could be scripted. You still got to fall and get hit, man.
Right. You still got to take those blows. May he rest in peace. If I'm Rey Mysterio, I feel like crap because I'm like, damn, I ain't come to the ring to take somebody out, like for real, take somebody out. I don't think
he might be one of them dudes, man. Growing up, you got the play cousins that you wrestle with and all that, and you always got one who just take stuff too serious and he's way rougher than everybody else.
Always.
Yeah. That might have been him, man. He might have kicked that dude too hard. Like, damn, dog.
And for those listening who don't know what we talking about, that's because you probably was that cousin.
Exactly. You that dude, man. We try and wrestle. You try to throw dudes. You try to throw dudes' heads up against the granite counter. Like, dog, you can't.
Because we old enough, and our favorite wrestler is probably Ric Flair. I know I'm speaking for everybody on this show. Like, do you remember the cousin that would try and do the figure four? Like, there was
try to break your legs. Yeah, exactly.
Yo, whoa, that was very.
It's the fur wearing, gold chain having.
Oh, sorry. I had a flashback moment. But rest in peace, man.
Flair to go.
Shout out to the homie Phil Maddock and from Tissue and the Tape in the chat room. He said he that dude. he that cousin. Play too much. Too rough, man. Yeah, I had a couple dudes, cousin, man.
I had
to break my leg with the figure four. I'm like, yo, guys. All right,
I gave that cousin some work.
Last story that happened this week while y'all were on the grind. Your man Aaron Hernandez's trial presses on. They actually had a bomb threat called in, so the proceedings had to be a little postponed. But it's probably because of the latest developments, and the latest development is that the judge and the case has decided to allow some of his jailhouse phone calls into the prosecution's evidence. So, he had some calls in July of 2013 where he's recorded saying that he set up trust funds for Singleton's sons. And Singleton is, because remember, the guy that he killed, Olden Lloyd, was dating, who was he? He was dating somebody that's close to the dude. The sister of Aaron Hernandez's fiance. So the woman Singleton has terminal cancer. So as a promise to her, to try to keep her quiet about letting the authorities know that he did indeed do this killing, he offered to set up trust funds of $75,000 and $100,000 to her two sons, which they said he never did. So they have that and some surveillance and some other phone calls that they recorded that's really, really bad for his case. What do y'all think is going to end up happening to this dude?
99 plus 1.
Man.
99 years plus 1. Want to wake up?
He might get a needle or something. Like, this dude, man, I was joking earlier, man. I said the NFL has more people incarcerated than BMS, but this guy is they're going to make an example out of him because with the more and more evidence and the more you hear the story, it's like, yo, this dude really played football on the side. Like, football. People always say he was doing all this. Like, no, football was his side hustle.
Keyword is on the side. On the side. He was banging his main gig.
Let me correct that.
It's kind of one of those things.
Tanya Singleton is actually his cousin. So he was saying to her on the phone,
okay,
obviously don't say anything. And she said, I'm not saying nothing. Then he made her these promises.
It's kind of one of those things, man, where like, committing crimes is wrong, right? But then some people do it because they feel they don't have any alternative. They feel like their back's against the wall. But when you get to the point where you're living the dream that amongst millions of young men, dream of, being able to play the game to make a living, and you still go do these things, it's like, yo, you're smacking the face of everybody that you're gonna go do time with. You have to do time. They're gonna look at you like, dog, you made it. You know what I mean? Like you're disrespecting them. It's just ridiculous to me, man. That dude's a scum.
No doubt. All right, so before we move on and just give these birthday shout outs, Darren Sharper, Aaron Hernandez, the baseball player from Bloomsburg University, and Mysterio for playing too damn rough in the ring. You should be ashamed of yourself. The way you carry yourself. Can't put your boot heel on that dude like that, man. And just
no doubt, man. Let's jump into these.
Yeah, who's having a birthday, man?
Yeah, I'm jumping to these birthdays. Do you or your business need a custom website? Well, for dynamic, professional, and most of all, affordable custom website solutions, you need Digital Extreme Technologies. No need to break the bank for an effective online presence. Top quality, results-driven websites at incredibly affordable prices. Financing options are available. To get the hookup, though, make sure you always mention War Room Sports. Go to digitalextremetech.com. Mention War Room Sports and you'll get the discount. Call 267-205-4203. Let's jump right into the birthdays. The first birthday gentleman is Marshall Faulk, who turns 42. One of the more underrated running backs in NFL history.
We know it's your birthday.
John Stockton, 53. Marcus Allen, another running back, 55. Hold on, real quick before we move on.
John Stockton got a twin. John Stockton. Who was overrated?
You think Marcus Allen is overrated? Marcus Allen, be offensive call overrated.
You talking about John
Stockton?
No, you said John Stockton's overrated. Oh, you saying John Stockton is overrated?
Little John can ball, man. You crazy.
Keep it moving.
Be often. I don't know. I can't co-sign that with you, brother. I mean, I guess it depends upon where you rate him, right? Because
if some good credit, I don't need no co-sign.
Nah. That's all subjective. Anyway, man, those are the birthdays right there. Two great running backs, Marshall Faulk, Marcus Allen. Marshall Faulk is probably underrated. And the great John Stockton. Deb, tell everybody how they can get in touch with us before we move on to some hot topics.
All right, everybody. As usual, you can check out our website, warroomsports.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for the War Report. That's our newsletter. Click on the Contact Us tab to send a message about the company, the show. Or if you want to do some business, we have sponsorship and advertising opportunities. For general inquiries, email us at info@warroomsports.com. While you're browsing, though, click the memorabilia tab. Buy some War Room Sports merchandise. Click the blog tab to read our latest sports articles in the All's Fair in Sports and War blog. That's sports and entertainment. You can click the respective icons and tabs to like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our iTunes podcast, watch our webcast at warroomsportstv.com, listen to our radio network at WRSPN.com, and to download our free War Room Sports mobile app to get everything I just mentioned on the go. You can join the JW Philly Realty chat room right now during the show if you want to talk to us live. That's blogtalkradio.com/the war room to enter the chat room to sign up for a free profile on Blog Talk Radio. If you don't have one, if you don't want one, you can sign in through your Facebook and Twitter accounts. And while you're at it, click follow to get updates and reminders about the show. We'll be taking questions and reading posts from Facebook, Twitter, and the chat room during the show. If you want to call in and speak with us, dial the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That number is 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. We're going to jump into some hot topics. I see we got some people waiting on the digital for us. So let's talk a little bit about the NCAA tournament because, like we said earlier, the Sweet 16 will be tipping off within the hour. A few things that I noticed that I know you guys might have a few comments on. Hometown stuff. You know, everybody out there, we're all from Philadelphia, so we're kind of used to teams choking. It's not anything new. But Villanova, a number 1 seed in this tournament, chokes last round. Did you guys see this game, or what did you take out of this? Like, why did this team choke when, you know, they were supposed to be one of the better teams in the tournament? And for the record, I usually don't drink the Kool-Aid on Villanova, but for some reason I had them advancing to the championship game. So that's a bracket buster in itself. What the hell is wrong with Nova?
They got you.
Why? What's up with the choke job?
To me, to be honest, they were out coached. They were out hustled. And you can see that, you know, as the game started going start going deeper into the second half, you can see them starting to feel the pressure of being the number 1 seed. And they just were playing out of sorts. Their big men down low struggle, Pauls. And overall, they were extremely outcoached in my opinion. One thing I noticed about this tournament is the coaching. College coaches probably, and you guys may argue this point I'm getting ready to make, but just from observing all kinds of sports, I think college basketball coaches have the biggest impact on the game, more so than any other sport. And I say that because you can see coaches making adjustments in certain things, and you can see the patience on their team, the different sets they were running. And just watching the first couple rounds of the tournament, it's prevalent. And also why you can see guys go from one system to the other and have success throughout college basketball. Like a lot of times you just follow the coaches and you'll see how a program like, you know, West Virginia is now in the Sweet 16 several times because they got Huggins. You know what I mean? Like you see guys like, you know, Calipari, Patino have success everywhere because they affect the game. Villanova was throwing up. Me and Dev were talking on the game, but all these stupid threes they were throwing up. It's a shot clock. They didn't even work the shot clock at all. They had no patience. I mean, no patience whatsoever. And that's what I mean about them.
Jimmy, when you say college coaches, when you say college coaches, are you referring not just basketball but across the board, collegiate level sports? The coaches are. I was
saying specifically, if you just not breaking it down between college and pro, but just breaking down everything. College basketball, even more so than college football, because football, there's so many moving pieces. Basketball, there's fewer moving pieces. And at the NBA level, these guys are like, you know, crazy athletes. But when you watch the games, this is why you can see guys who don't necessarily have the best athletes or even the best players win games in college basketball.
I haven't thought about it enough, but actually on face value, I'm inclined to agree. I'm inclined to agree with you. The only pushback I would offer to that is it feels like certain coaches are so strong from a recruiting standpoint and their systems are so simple. But there are on the other side of that, there's guys like Huggins or Shaka Smart or
Larry Brown
that are in the mid-majors. Larry Brown, perfect example.
We could have beat SMU about 3 years ago.
Yeah, their system and their strategy and tactics. I mean, their in-game adjustments. Boeheim is another one that's good for that. So the more I think about it, the more I'm tending to agree with you. Kentucky, Patino, I don't feel like he makes many in-game adjustments, but that's because he has aliens that kind of run, and he just tells his aliens. I mean, Calipari, yeah, Patino and Calipari, they're the same person. But it's like Robert De Niro and Pacino. But they Kentucky is one of the exceptions. where I don't think they make many adjustments. But when I think across the board, 300 major Division I schools, the mid-majors, your Butlers, your Gonzagas, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, well, as far as Villanova goes, man, like Jimmy mentioned, the shot selection was it's maybe the worst shot selection of, now I haven't seen, every Villanova game, but in this particular game, like their shot selection was atrocious. They just continuously launched 3-pointers, even when the game, when they weren't in a desperate situation. Now, this may go a little bit to Jay Wright's recruiting, because it seems that Villanova always has a team with the same type of makeup, pretty strong guards, not that great with the bigs. You might have an undersized big who probably plays a little above his means and abilities, but it's just not good enough, especially when you run against teams that have legitimate bigs. Jay Wright teams are always in a situation where, and for some reason, it's not just, it seems like it's always been like a Philly team. Like St. Joe's used to always go into the fight with great guards and
heavy.
Mediocre bigs.
Heavy.
Temple, even the same way.
When you think about this region, right, in terms of the Northeast, and which is where a lot of the recruits come from, that's what we put out. We put out the best guards in the world. You know what I mean? You look at the NBA, you look at the guards from Kyle Lowry, Kobe Bryant. That's what we put out. Now, every once in a while, you get like a freak of nature, like a Rasheed Wallace or a Wilt Chamberlain. You know what I mean? Somebody who's just like 7 foot or crazy like that. But for the most part, in the Northeast, that's what we put out. We put out the best guards there is. Like, there's no other region that puts out guards the way the Northeast does. And that's who ends up at these schools. That's why you say Philly schools like the St. Joe's or the Villanovas.
Right. And the fact that like Jay Wright can't get the bigs like that, the fact that he can't get them, it always puts them in a position, especially when the tournament comes, that if their guards have a bad game, which they did because their point guard, who, was a all-conference player, he did nothing this game. So when your guards have a bad game, the rest of your team is not good enough to make up for that. NC State took advantage of it. And here we go talking overall to the nature.
It speaks overall to the nature of the game. And I think Jay Wright, really, if you look at it, he's on the cutting edge in a bad way of the trend of basketball, which is the value of the big is disappearing because everything is perimeter oriented, which is why he gets away with starting 3 and sometimes 4 guards. So his third or fourth guard is always an oversized 6'5", 6'6" dude that should possibly be a small forward, but they call him a guard anyway. So they have 3 and 4 ball handlers and 3 and 4
guards
shooters,
and 2 forwards, and no center.
Better than Maryland.
No rebounders. Mello, come on, Mello, come talk to us.
Man, well, speaking of Maryland, I wanted to ask you guys about that game too, because I know a lot of us were actually watching it together, and and that's one of my alma maters. I don't really claim it that much because I don't think grad school really count that much, but I root for the fellas at Maryland, especially when it's convenient. But we talk about being guard heavy. Like Maryland's best 2 players are guards, Melo Trimble and Dez Wells, but
they have no other guards. There's no other guards on the roster.
No, because Dez is a guard, but he's not a ball handler. And it showed in their game against West Virginia when Melo Trimble got hurt and actually had to leave the game for good. It all fell apart for Maryland because I swear it seemed to me that nobody else on the team knows how to dribble a basketball. Like they couldn't get the ball up the court cleanly. By the time they got it up, like they expended so much energy doing that. The shot that went up was a bad shot. It just seemed like this is a team that could have gone a little bit farther on the back of their freshman point guard, but with him having to leave the game, his teammates just didn't pick him up like when they needed to. So, talk about Maryland being in the same position
on that game,
as a 4 seed.
My opinion on that game is a couple things, right? Well, first off, my grad school alma mater is Drexel, and last time we made the tournament, Malik Rose was playing. But that's either here or there. Watching that game was crazy because I think that man for man, Maryland probably has a better basketball team than West Virginia, but West Virginia has a bunch of freak athletes who went out there and just pumped. They just pumped Maryland. So they were literally just taking the ball out of their hand, like, yo, give me that. Like, yo, this is our basketball, but it's gonna stay at my house. Like, they were pumping Maryland, and the fact that Maryland didn't have that many ball handlers is like astonishing for them to play the way they played this season and to be exposed that way. Like, why didn't any other coach pick up on the fact that, yo, these dudes can't bring the ball up? Like, and again, that goes to Bob Huggins making a difference. Like, he must have seen something and said, yo, we pressing them all game long. And
Maryland wasn't Bob Huggins at Cincinnati?
Yeah, back when they had
total. That's when they was in the pro.
I'm gonna make a point.
He still recruits
the same way. The same people.
The same way. He goes to the juvie centers in every major city and gets their best athletes, and he comes out there and punks teams. But it's crazy because like Maryland at one point
goes to the regional football combines. He goes to the regional football combines and picks the greatest athletes out of the football combine.
And Maryland, like I don't know if Melo's going to come back or not, but like they have to get more than one ball handler. How do you have one ball handler in your entire team? It got to the point where one time they put like a little Indian kid in. He's literally the first Indian person I've ever seen play basketball at any level. Like, like little Bobby Jindal was out there trying to play basketball.
They still don't let him dribble. They just let him play defense.
Little Bobby Jindal went out there and was trying to bring the rock. I'm like, you gotta get more ball handlers. West Virginia
he made the winning defensive play in the game prior. He hacked the hell out of dude and it wasn't called. But hey, they don't no call, no foul.
This is another situation where we know the teams that get the major recruits. Maryland is just getting over a recruiting slump that probably lasted close to eight seasons. So now they're finally getting players the caliber of a Melo, Trimble, or whatever his name, in state, because everybody that was anybody in the DMV area either looks at Georgetown or leaves. And even going further, some of the guys that are somewhat talented will rather go to George Mason or GW than play at Maryland. And it's kind of crazy. So, yeah, they need to get somebody that can dribble the ball other than him.
Well, to their credit, though, their starting point guard, Seth Allen, and I don't think he's the only player they lost, but he transferred from Maryland, and he didn't announce this until last May. So I don't think Melo Trimble was supposed to even come in and start at the point guard. So, Seth Allen transferred, Melo Trimble comes in, he's thrust into this position. I think he's that good, though. I think he would eventually, if he wasn't on the point, he would have found himself in the starting lineup, if not from the beginning.
I mean, the kid is a major talent.
He's obviously their best player. Yeah.
Yo, and they straight gooned him out of the game. They was banging his head. Yo, he's stepping on him.
The final blow was his own teammates, though. Remember, he fell to the floor, and his teammate ran by and kneed him in his head.
That's after half of playing against the Baltimore Ravens, though. They was like, you see that pick next to him?
It's cool, though, because both of these teams were basically fighting each other to see who had the right to go up against the Monstars next game. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if West Virginia out there and bully Kentucky like that. So
here's the thing: in our chat room, I was saying in our chat room, Skyview Kev said that West Virginia has been drinking the Kool-Aid, but Kentucky is about to hide the sugar. And I see what you did there, HYD, hide. I saw the little play on words. I peeped that. But so it goes to your point. Do you think that, like, I don't think they'll be punked by Kentucky. I don't think they can beat them because Kentucky got 11 7-footers. They're not as talented. I don't think they're gonna be scared.
Kentucky got two dudes that were recruited as power forwards playing the guard, the Harrison twins. They can't even dribble. They get so long. They get so long it don't even matter.
Yeah, they like take 3 dribbles and they're on the court.
But I don't think that West Virginia is going to be scared. I don't think West Virginia is going to be scared. I don't think they can win, but I don't think they're going to be scared. Like, they got the one dude in the team that me and Dev call Snake because he looks like the number 5. He looks like Snake from What's Happening, the one dude on West Virginia. Like, first of all, he looks like he bathes infrequently, but he is not going to be punked by them big dudes. Like, but at the end of the day, I don't think that they can beat him, but they're not going to be scared though.
Yo, West Virginia only hit like 7 jumpers the entire season though. If they don't get to the set, like, they can't shoot a gun 4 feet away from the target.
All right, well, since this is one of the games that because I believe that Kentucky game is that game is today at like 9:45. So I'm interested in seeing how West Virginia can man up on them and see if they can intimidate Kentucky in any way whatsoever. But like I said, West Virginia,
you know what? You're not gonna be punking me when we get 40. I'm letting you know that right now.
All right, so let's. I'm looking at my own brackets, and I'm in a terrible position right now. Not really. I still got a lot of people that's in the Sweet 16 because I always, no matter what they're supposed to do, I always ride with Michigan State. So I lost Villanova. I lost SMU, who were supposed to be in my Sweet 16. I lost Kansas, and I lost Maryland, and I lost Baylor. So let's repick. Let's reset the whole thing because we can do that. And we're going to pick the Sweet 16 and before we get Fred Purdue on the line to tell us a little bit of what's going on in college football this spring. Let's start with 7th seed Wichita State versus 3 seed Notre Dame. That's the first game to tip off this evening. Who you guys got in that one?
Give me the Irish.
I am going with the I'm going the other way. I'm going with the upset, man. I'm taking Wichita State. They're a tough team. The Notre Dame has been playing lights out, within the tournament and all that. But I see a lot of people jump on the Notre Dame bandwagon. I'm going upset.
Notre Dame had some trouble game 1 against Northeastern, but like you said, Jim, like coming into the tournament, like Notre Dame was making a case. Like they're making a case for people to say, okay, can we add them to the list of somebody who might be able to get that upset against Kentucky if they make it that far? I'm going to go chalk with it. I'm going to go Notre Dame as well. Then we got Dean Smith's old squad. I wonder how many people at this game who's going to be at this in attendance. Got a $200 check earlier today from him. Number 4 seed North Carolina going up against number 1 seed Wisconsin. And I'm going to go chalk with this one as well. Wisconsin is a very good team. I watched Wisconsin live in the Final Four last year, and to be as disciplined as they were, I think it was a couple of mental breakdowns and fundamental breakdowns at the end that cost them, a chance at the title last season. They're back for more. The big man is no joke. I got them beating North Carolina. What about you guys?
I'm going with the Badgers. I'm going chalk.
Yeah, I'm also going chalk on that way. And by the way, by me picking Wichita State is funny because in our brackets, in the World Sports brackets, I actually have Notre Dame making it to play Kentucky. So I'm actually going to get that. I'm going to get
but
that.
That's the thing.
Busting.
That's why we're
bracket.
But that's why we're
very impressed by watching Wichita play. I'm very impressed by that team. I'm just very impressed that you can get a bunch of guys in Wichita of all places that ball out that way.
Yeah, so this is our reset after we watched 2 rounds of the tournament plus two playing games. We know basically what's going on, and we get a do-over. The fourth game, the fourth game, 6 seeded Xavier versus number 2 seed Arizona. Who y'all got in that one?
I'm going Arizona. I think Arizona
going to lay their mushroom head on Xavier.
I'm definitely taking Arizona, man. That's another team that I have. In terms of the Elite 8, I still have 7 of the 8 teams that I picked still running. With the one exception being Villanova. But the problem is, B. Austin, some of these things like Deb just said, I'm rolling with Michigan State. Like I did the same thing, but I'm looking around. Everybody did. Everybody was basically using the same strategy.
Yeah. Now, I thought from the beginning of the tournament, before we got our reset, our do-over, I thought that Arizona might be the team that, could be that possible upset candidate for Kentucky. So I'm not going to give up on Arizona now. I got them beating Xavier. So the games tomorrow, we got 4 more tomorrow. We got 11-seeded UCLA versus the 2-seed Gonzaga. And this is where I get, because, Gonzaga 10 years has supposed to have been that mid-major that was going to possibly climb out of the ranks and do something. Gonzaga was basically supposed to be what Butler has been in the past 5 or 6 years. And we haven't seen that yet. They finally got a seed. They got a 2-seed. And what do you guys think? UCLA?
I'm rolling with Gonzaga, actually. I have Gonzaga in my Elite Eight. The one thing I can say about Gonzaga is they haven't made taken that next step like they were supposed to, but they have consistently made their way back. They consistently competed. Cause before that one run, maybe 10, 15 years ago, who the hell knew about Gonzaga other than who went? John Stockton went there?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. That's the only thing you knew about it was John Stockton. Other than that, who the hell was it?
So,
but now they're constantly in the tournament. They're in the mix. They get better recruits now. So, can you still consider them a mid-major at this point?
Maybe not. I mean, they got their coaches, because we talk about coaches and recruiting. Mark Few is a pretty popular name out there.
Is there a definition of mid-major by maybe popular? I don't know. What makes someone a mid-major? School size, so maybe that's why. Maybe in that
program size, money, basically everything comes down to money.
Because their program over the last decade has become a big-time basketball program. But with that being said, to your point, I got them winning this round. Go ahead, be awesome.
I don't want to bet against John Wooten's old school, and this is going to be.
We went back to. You not go back that far though.
Take it back to Wooten, the Wizard of Westwood.
I mean, Naismith was with right? I mean,
they don't want to let down. They don't want to let down Russell Westbrook, so I'm gonna go with UCLA pulling the upset on this one. UCLA.
I don't think I had either one of these teams. I'm sorry. I did have Gonzaga because I had Gonzaga.
I'm about to say, who the hell do you have over there?
No, I had Gonzaga losing I had Gonzaga losing to SMU in this round.
I had them playing SMU.
I'm gonna go with the upset. I'm gonna go with UCLA. So then we got NC State, who just took care of Villanova. I didn't even mention, man, the funniest thing that came out of that whole Villanova game is the attention that the girl from the band is getting. She was playing the piccolo as they lost. And she was crying. She was bawling, but she was still playing the piccolo. She's gone viral because people have written articles about her with the funniest photoshops.
Brought into it.
She was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, like you said. With the
it's amazing because when it happened in the house, we're watching the game. I busted out laughing, and Monica was like, "That's going to be a meme." I was like, "Yeah, she definitely is going to be a meme." And I've seen some of the funniest memes, but it just shows you how small the world is. How one little clip like that, and you're on the Tonight Show. Like, what the hell is that?
Exactly. She's her name is Roxanne Chalifo. So yeah, she was on Jimmy Fallon show. She got tickets to the Taylor Swift concert, and she will forever be an internet meme. So shout out to her for crying and being able to do her job.
Cry her way.
Time. That's the inspiration.
Cry her
crying,
way,
but she's still going.
So
she did not accept mediocrity, and she fought against the war against ignorance, man. So shout out to
her. So we got the team that made her cry, NC State, going up against Louisville. Who y'all got now?
There's that Calipari. Which one of them?
That's Rick Pitino.
Same person.
That's what I'm saying. They the same dude.
Who you got?
I'm going Louisville.
NC State.
Yeah, listen.
Going with the
I'm picking Louisville because in one of my brackets, I actually had Louisville winning the whole thing, and I call that my conspiracy bracket because I got them playing Kentucky in the finals. Just because I think that it'll be amazing marketing and all that, like B. Austin just said. Patino and Calipari, so I'm gonna go with Louisville.
Rivals right down the street. I'm gonna go with Louisville as well. I had Villanova beating them in this round, so I'm kind of thinking, Villanova lost, so that makes this situation a little bit easier for the Cardinal. But NC State, they're gonna come to play. But I got Louisville winning that. You got Utah, 5 seed versus Duke, a number 1 seed. I got them taking out the Dukies.
Actually, I picked Duke, and I wasn't. The funny thing is, I wasn't very sure of my pick when I picked Duke, because I've watched Utah play this year a couple of times. I actually watched the Utah-Arizona game, which was an amazing game this season. And Utah got some players on that team. How do you get brothers to come out Utah and play ball? I don't know, but they actually have some players on that team. But watching Duke play, like the Duke Okafor is really the truth. How he'll produce the next level, I don't know. But he's young Duncan, and that
best player in college basketball.
The team is obviously like gelling and playing together because they all have the same haircut, so they must be gelling and playing together. So I'm going from the same barber. I'm going with Duke.
Yo, I had this game, and I had Utah beating them. Like I have real second thoughts about this as well. It would be cowardly of me to switch a game that I had. So even on the reset, I'm gonna stay with Utah. I'm gonna stay with I'm gonna stay with Utah.
Coward.
Over Duke. But who you got, B? You got Duke.
Mediocre Okafor.
Duke is tough,
going
though.
to.
It's tough.
You think he already better than his cousin though? He already better than his cousin? No.
He's better than the mediocre.
Well, put it like this: in the NCAA, Emeka won a chip, and he was also the number 2 overall pick.
Are they related?
Emeka is still in the league stealing money. No, he's just Nigerian.
No, I think last year was his last year. I'm not sure. He's still in the league. I thought last year was his last year.
I don't know.
He's
been stealing money for a decade.
They're cousins. They're not like first cousins. They're like
no, like you said, in college, that's arguable. I would say that Jalil has more skill, but Emeka might have been a better college basketball
player.
Like
he was the number 2 overall pick, and he won a chip.
Exactly. Yeah, and it was arguable. I mean, Dwight Howard was the number 1 pick, but you know how they were doing then. Like the potential of these guys coming out of high school was tempting to everybody. So. Yeah, I think it's arguable.
I'm going Duke. To answer your question, I'm going with Coach.
Especially on the defensive end. You're going with the Dukies. All right, and last one, Michigan State, 7 seed against number 3, Oklahoma. I had this game as well, and I did pick Oklahoma to beat Michigan State, but I am going to switch that pick. I'm going to go the cowardly route.
You're being a coward. You're being a coward.
Right. You're going to be a coward now.
Michigan State, first of all, I don't know why I didn't have Michigan State beating them in the first place, because I always have Michigan State going really far in my brackets, because a Tom Izzo coach team in March never lets you down. I mean, unless you're a Michigan State fan and you want them to win the chip, they never really let you down. So I'm going to go with Michigan State.
Izzo gets guys that aren't good to be great in college basketball. Like, his guards don't even do anything after, like they done after college, but they ball in the tournament. So yeah, I'm going.
Team shouldn't be on TV.
I don't think Tom Izzo cares about seeding. He'd be like in the tournament.
No, do you remember? You remember they had the little skinhead looking white dude that would shoot from like half court, and he was money. I don't know who he defended, but he would get off. Yeah. I remember the last I seen him, he was playing for the Aryan Nation. He's playing for the Aryan Nation in some prison school, but I'm going with Michigan State. Michigan State, man. Tom Izzo.
Yeah, I'm also going with Michigan State. I had them winning this. Well, I had them actually losing to, I think, was it Nova? No, I had them winning this round, and then they play Nova or something like that. I know I had them eventually losing to Nova, but I think I had them winning this round, then losing to Nova.
Yeah,
the next round.
they would play. If Nova would have made it, they would actually be playing Nova now.
Okay, well, I had them losing to Nova. No. Now that Nova ain't here, I'm taking Michigan State.
I'm looking at the bracket. No, that's not true. They would be playing them
winning until they.
You're right. They would be playing Nova in the Elite 8 next round. If
I had them winning until they faced Nova, so I already had them winning this round anyway.
Yeah. All right, well, that's our Sweet 16 reset, man. And let's get Fred Perdue on the line because he's waiting to talk to you guys about what's going on in college football this spring. So from collegefootballextra.com, we got the homie Fred Perdue. What's going on, Fred?
How y'all guys doing? I know y'all enjoying this college basketball. Guys are going in right now.
Not really, Fred. Not really.
Tournament,
but,
is always one of the more exciting parts of the year to me, but I still think the quality of play is down from,
Can I just say
past,
I was listening to the show earlier. I was that cousin. I was that cousin.
You're the rough dude. He was a rough dude that was really trying to DDT people on like tile floor.
Yeah.
And hit people.
Okay, no, not the tile floor, maybe the trampoline, but
See, but what people don't realize is a DDT can kill you on any surface. You can't DDT a dude on anything. Like it hurt.
Yeah, too much Jake the Snake. Fred, you'd have got the people's elbow and the wonder kick from me if you'd have come over with that toughness.
The sharpshooter was my favorite. I was a Bret Hart fan. Between that and the super kicks, like Shawn Michaels, I was a wrestling fan early in my life.
R.I.P. to Owen Hart, by the way. He's another one that died in the ring. So R.I.P. to Owen Hart.
Damn. All right, so let's get into this real quick, man. I know you got some news for us. USC and what else you got for us this spring? What's happening?
Well, to start off, we've had some issues at Tennessee. Can you say injury prone? Injury bug has bitten. You know how we have the flu bug that goes around throughout the spring or whenever? Well, they have the injury bug. They have, between injuries and guys transferring, they're down about close to 30 players. We have 9 guys injured, another 12 have either transferred or been kicked off the team. A couple others, they've been held out for precautionary reasons. If they're not, the hurt guys are just doing weight training and walkthroughs when other guys are watching film. I don't know how this team is really going to actually compete come regular season time, because if you have this many injuries now, and if spring is over and you're getting into the summer where you have to treat it almost like an NFL training camp these days, especially in the SEC. How are these guys? And these are not just backups; these are starting players. How are you going to field a true team?
Yeah. That's almost 30 players though. That's alarming.
That's I mean, after counting them up, I counted about 23, 24 players. That's close enough. And that was just a quick glance at it. I mean, these guys are just falling like flies. The only
whole starting lineup hurt.
They have one junior college walk-on running back. That is the only thing they have in the backfield. One walk-on junior college.
Damn. All right, so what else is going on? I know you were saying something's going on at USC.
Well, we all remember how they said USC, they wanted to take their Heisman Trophy from Reggie Bush, and the NCAA has always had this problem lately with their own lack of institutional control, where they can just go investigate anyone and then it's okay. Well, there were a lot of emails coming out in this lawsuit with their running backs coach that was actually suing them as well. Well, all of these emails against USC saying that they were going to they had it out for USC at the time. So really and truly, the NCAA to me, they really do need to look into getting some of their own institutional control. They may want to do their own internal investigation between the University of Miami being investigated and them having their hands caught in the cookie jar. And yes, the University of Miami was guilty, but when you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, you can't really do anything. USC with these emails now, you have other schools such as LSU and Oregon who they never got punished because you really can't do anything when you get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. there are schools like Alabama, the University of Florida, they get away scot-free because they know you can't really do anything to anyone if you're doing the wrong as well.
All right. So, I mean, what's it looking like for them? Because there's the self-investigations, and which subsequently lead to the self-imposed punishments. I think that always it looks good to the NCAA because a lot of people who end up doing that don't get much of a punishment from the NCAA, and then you find out sometimes that a school may have overpunished itself trying to basically guess what the NCAA is going to do, and those are situations where it backfires. But like if they do what they have to do to get institutional control, I mean, what do you propose? Like, what do you think they should do? Some kind of serious ban, or?
As far as the schools are concerned, I think I agree with you. It looks nice when a school puts their own ban on themselves, a la Ohio State, who went undefeated and still had no bowl game. But at the other end of things, you have to kind of look at the NCAA too. They're putting themselves, they're kind of like that overbearing parent or overbearing adult when you're a kid and you say, you aren't really doing anything wrong, but because that person is going by the book on everything, they let nothing slide. And that's the issue. There's so much gray area. These coaches and these players, such as Braxton Miller, we'll get to him in a minute, who you're allowed to do so much, but when you do something they don't like, even though it's in a gray area, they pick and choose who they want to punish. If you're a big name school like USC and you're having lots of success, yes, they're going to come after you because it looks suspicious. Really and truly, it's in the NCAA rulebook that a quote unquote student athlete can't take a ride from one of their coaches from across campus. One of their coaches can't buy them lunch at a McDonald's. Something you can't give them anything, and it's something so minor because a normal student can go into a school, start their own business, make their own money off of their own name, and you can profit off it. But these players, they cannot do that.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate. They do have some. Yeah, they got some rules that really need to be looked at. All right, so Fred, let everybody know as usual where they can get in touch with you. Let them know what's coming down the pike as far as spring ball and college football, and what you guys over there at College Football Extra have going on as far as the NFL draft, mock drafts, or what have you.
You guys can always catch us at collegefootballextra.com. That's on Twitter, CFB Extra. College football right now it's that lull period where everyone's undefeated. Spring games are going on. It's that hype season. Everyone has their favorite super freshman. Well, we'll be reporting on that. I have the Miami Hurricanes spring game coming up this Saturday. A couple weeks from now, we have Florida State and a couple others. We'll have a full all-out. I have a nice little project, couple actually nice projects here. I'm going to be covering every single college football team in the Power 5. I'm giving you full breakdowns of that, as well as once the spring practices are over.
That's only 5 teams. You said every single team.
In the Power 5.
And we'll also have a way too early to tell top 10 post-spring. Just kind of give you a little idea of who's going to be doing what. And I kind of want to do a little something with the NFL draft as well. We'll be having a mock draft going up. Our own David West doing that as well. Speaking of the NFL draft, before I get out of here, can you just say, how do you fail an idiot test? I don't know, smoke marijuana before
be a big idiot.
Combine. Shout out to you, Randy Gregory. You were a top 10 pick. I don't know why anyone would take you in the top 10, but you smoked marijuana, and now you will be, I don't know, a second, third, fourth round pick.
Maybe he had some strong grade he couldn't just say no to, man. But yo, for Fred, speaking of right, good.
What state is he in?
Yo, it's like the Power 5, right? Like NCAA cracks me up how they just like. Y'all a bunch of elitists. You want to like basically separate everything.
Yeah,
you have this
crap on the rest of the.
in the Power Five. It's like, yo, come on, man.
How does everybody else feel about that name?
Well, I mean, with the Power Five, I mean, I don't really necessarily advocate for that, but we all know the big boys, the SEC, the ACC, the Big 12, the Big 10, which the Big 12 isn't really the Big 12, they're actually the Big 10 Part 2, and the Pac-12 those are the major conference. They're the major conferences, and that's what they're trying to market out to everyone. The average fan is not going to be out there saying, I want to see, unfortunately, as much as I like them, Boise State. They're not going out to see SMU. They're going to see Ohio State. That's my job. That's where I come in.
Why don't they just cut everybody else and just let them play, since they're going to disrespect everybody else anyway?
I feel like there has to be a separation. There has to be a separation one day.
Separate but equal, right? We heard that before.
As far as marketing goes, you got to do that. All right, but Fred, thanks a lot. And we'll be looking forward to everything coming down the way. The more information on spring football, more information on the NFL draft. Y'all keep it tuned in to collegefootballextra.com. Check them out on Twitter. Fred Purdue, everybody. All right, bud.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
Take it easy.
Yeah. A few quick things in the NFL before we move on and talk some hoops. And I know we got a couple of calls on the digital. The NFL decided to suspend the TV blackout policy for 2015, and I guess they're going to look at it.
About time.
Look how it goes in 2015 to see if they're going to keep doing that. So basically, no NFL games are going to be blocked from local TV because of failure to sell a certain amount of tickets. I never understood, especially with the money involved in their TV contracts. I don't know why they did this in the first place, but it seems like an obvious thing. Go ahead, Jim.
It was kind of like a thing that the owners wanted to protect the owners, because in some markets, believe it or not, they don't sell out their football games. Like, we've always grew up, and even you guys still move to a market in which football is like religion, so they don't have an issue with that. But in certain markets, the owners would rather have seats in the butt so they can go buy beer and look at all the different, corporations, look at logos of the corporations that pay the money. So it was kind of a way to force you to buy tickets. If you don't buy tickets, you can't just sit at home and watch the game.
You can't watch it you can watch it on TV if you don't, if enough people don't come. Yeah, I definitely understand. But it's like the TV contracts now are so diesel. I think they understand like what it costs to attend an NFL game, especially like if you're trying to do it with the family, or take your kids, take your sons or something. Yeah, it's crazy how much that stuff costs.
They kept increasing prices with the same rule, so it's kind of antiquated. But the original reason for having a rule made sense, because it all boils down to beer. They want to sell more beer, so force people to come and buy beer.
And then
you're right.
I went to a Jacksonville Jaguars game, and they had half of the top of the stadium covered. They had a bunch of sections covered. I guess they didn't want it to look bad on TV, if they even got on TV for that week.
Jacksonville is literally like a joke in terms of the league. Like, there's so much of a joke when you watch the NFL Scout movie. They're like the laughing stock of that movie. But
Jim, I think Jacksonville is a joke when it comes to Florida. I think they just think that's like the joke of Florida.
They don't even give it. Y'all punks. Y'all don't even know we're respecting Florida. Shout out to Orlando and Miami. But listen though, I'm wondering moving forward, are they what are they going to do about this? Because if you keep increasing prices at the stadium, and now the television contracts are so prosperous, do you start building smaller stadiums as opposed to continuously build bigger stadiums?
Right. That's a good point. I mean, they say NFL blackouts have declined in the recent years, dropping to 40% in the 80s, 31% in the 90s, 8% in the 2000s, and 5% this decade. So, even though these tickets cost what they cost, these stadiums are still being filled, except in a few markets, one of which we spoke about, Jacksonville. So, I mean, they're going to revisit it after the season.
Imagine we buy a football team, right? And we flip the script, and not if. Imagine when we buy a football team, we flip the script and build a smaller stadium.
Amen.
Right. So now the seats are more of like, yo, I got to get there because there's only a limited amount of seats.
Right.
And since the television contract is so prosperous, like we're gonna shoot our games in 4K. Anyway, another story.
Keep flipping supply and demand on their ass. But
we're gonna get that later.
Another rule change. Well, this is actually rules on the field. Remember, we talked about in that Baltimore New England playoff game when New England was sending out formations with an ineligible receiver lined up wide, and Baltimore really couldn't catch on to what they were doing. That's illegal now. You'll get a 5-yard penalty if anybody with an eligible number, which are the numbers between 1 and 49 or 80 to 89. If any of those guys report as ineligible and line up outside the tackle box, they're going to be penalized 5 yards for illegal substitution. So my thoughts on that, it's one of those things. I thought it was a silly scenario in the first place, but it was something that the Patriots and Belichick exploited because, they found a loophole in the rules. So I'm not, there's a lot of people up in arms. Oh, they're changing the rules. They can't stop it, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's a matter of stopping it. I think it's just silly football, but sometimes you got to do silly things when you can get an advantage if it's within the rules. Now it's against the rules. Bomb with them making the rule about you fellas.
Yo, you guys go back to I think it was episode 237 to 238 when I said this what happened. It was towards, and I said basically they were going to change the rule because of this. And my logic after that was, this is why Bill Belichick is needed. In society and sports and everything, you always need someone to push the envelope. So it's how we have so many laws on the books. It's how we have so many rules on the books. Because it takes that one person to continuously try to work in the gray area for you to make things better. So Bill Belichick is sort of like that guy. And he must sit at home all day like, what can I do that's not illegal? But it's kind of like, he's that guy. So it has happened. I think it's funny. And, hey, look, it is what it is.
Yeah. So it's equal for me both ways. It's like I wasn't mad when they did it, and I'm not mad now that they changed the rule.
We're all in agreement. I look at this as when we talked about Jimmy Graham and the Saints going back and forth over a contract. There's no right or wrong in this. If the rule is a loophole and you find it, you're supposed to exploit it. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, as the great philosopher LaDainian Tomlinson said. So,
Word up.
Pushing the envelope. He was pushing the envelope. They closed it. Bill Cheat will find another way to push the envelope. And as Jimmy said, you need people like this to expand thought. Otherwise, people will, not fight mediocrity and be steadfast in ignorance. So salute to Bill Belichick and salute to those that are out here to stop Bill Belichick. Cat and mouse.
That's right.
Makes a great competition.
And before we're going to take this call on the Digital Extreme Tech hotline before we go into basketball, but to lead our segue into basketball is our stat of the week. And our stat of the week is simple. It's not a on-court statistic, but the Golden State Warriors clinched the Pacific Division a few days ago. And this was the first time Golden State has won that division in 39 years. It was 1976, the last time the Golden State Warriors won their division, I believe. So shout out to the Golden State Warriors. I like this team, man. So I hope they can do something with it, go into this thing, winning the division first time in 39 years, get that momentum, get that number one seed. They might have to face that OKC Thunder in the first round, but so shout out to them, man.
It's like one of the we always talk about how terrible it is sometimes to watch basketball, even though it's a sport we love. But they're one of the better teams to watch.
Yeah, they are definitely
fun.
Deep team.
Yeah.
Before Jimmy takes us into b-ball, man, let's get the homie Rob on real quick from out on the West Coast. Speaking of the Golden State Warriors, even though he's a Lakers fan, what's going on, bro? What's on your mind this week?
What's here for Leah, my Nia?
What's up, bro? What's up, y'all?
What's really good?
Yo, big shout out
too, the Golden State Warriors. To be honest, the Bay Area is probably the most underrated fan base I ever seen. Like, their team, like they were one of the worst teams in the league, and they sold out like a lot, over these past years. So shout out to the Golden State Warriors. B. Austin said John Stockton's overrated. Don't listen to B. Austin. This is the same person who said Magic Johnson's overrated. Don't think I didn't forget about that, B. Austin. Don't forget, Allen Iverson, Maurice Cheeks are not worthy enough to hold Magic Johnson's jock strap while he's peeing in Game 7. Okay?
Yo, Magic Johnson would probably enjoy that. He enjoyed kissing my man.
Yo, man, listen, man. Be Austin, no Magic slander. No Magic slander, but there's also no AI slander, Rob. There's a couple athletes that are unanimously that put
unslanderable
slander, and AI is one of them. AI can't be slandered, and Mike Tyson can't be slandered to us. Like, you just can't do it. And but I personally won't accept no Magic slander. But AI across the board can't be slandered, and neither can Mike Tyson. Just know that.
According to us, AI didn't do anything wrong with his life, and everything is everyone else's fault. He's in this situation.
Absolutely.
You know, I was trying to show my little brother. Check this. Because my little brother's in basketball right now. I was showing him film, and he was grasping on that like a Russell Westbrook. I tried some Allen Iverson film, and I was scared that he would bring on his work ethic, so I turned it off. So, anyways.
Damn.
Anyways, I'm watching
the game right now. Score 30 a game.
Man. Listen.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, we had to boo your call. We booing your whole call. You messing up all the way around, Rob. But what's up, brother? What's going on?
Oh, all right.
Carolina.
Man, this is one of the most. I didn't think they would come this far, man. To be honest, I thought Harvard was gonna be an upset, but dude,
it's over tonight.
Yeah, they got lucky.
They're coming.
Wisconsin gonna handle that for you.
They coming.
Wisconsin gonna handle that for you. Did you get your $200 check from Dean?
Huh?
Did you get your $200 check from Dean Smith's estate?
Oh,
He's sending out money.
Yo, Carolina. Rob, here's my thing though. Here's the thing I can say about North Carolina. To be serious for a second, one of the things that I a lot of people don't think about when filling out their bracket, and I've talked to a couple people saying this, is that you have to look at like the actual conferences they come from. Like, you still got Duke left, Carolina, North Carolina State, and then maybe somebody else from their conference still playing. Like,
they had a great tournament so far.
Mm-hmm. They had a great tournament as a conference. They definitely rep. So even if they don't tend to be a better team coming in the tournament, look at the competition they face year in and year out. Year in and year out in the ACC is like, they're going to be there. But
wait, compare that to Kentucky. Hello?
Yeah, I know you're right. You're right. Kentucky doesn't have that level of competition in their actual but they beat everybody by 30, so it doesn't matter. No one gets close to beating them.
Like 3 teams got close.
I mean, Dean Smith does like pre-trial work. The backcourt, the front court's a joke, but the backcourt's good.
Yo, Dean Smith preaches hard work.
Dean Smith dead, man.
Who? Dean Smith dead, homie.
Not Dean Smith, my fault. Roy Williams, my fault. Y'all got me on Dean Smith, so yeah.
I was about to say, he told you that.
Yo, you smoking some strong?
The ghost of Dean Smith. Hey, all the crap y'all been talking about. I'm surprised y'all don't drug test your employees. But anyways, man.
Cali weed. Y'all still own the company. We can't do nothing about that.
He's an owner, man. He said it's pride in that, man. Shout out to Dean Dash. But listen, though, Rob, thanks for the call.
Owners can smoke.
We got to roll, Rob. Rob, hit us up next week, homie.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, easy.
Rob don't know owners can smoke.
Yo, shout out to Rob, man. Rob over in Cali. Rob was legal. He's smoking that strong, man. But anyway, man, let's tell everybody to get in touch with us real quick. Talk some hoops.
Yeah, everybody, y'all can check out our website at warroomsports.com to call in and speak with us about anything NBA related, because that's what we're about to talk about, you can dial the Digital Extreme Tech hotline at 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk.
Yes, sir. This next segment is brought to you by Fanatics. For the best in your favorite team's merchandise and apparel, shop Fanatics. Shopping Fanatics is easy. Go to our website, warroomsports.com, and click on that Fanatics logo. You can go buy some gear. NFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, some NCAA gear, and more. Don't forget, warroomsports.com, and click on that Fanatics logo. Let's talk some basketball, gentlemen. Oh, all right, now, let's start off with the players of the week for this past week. The players of the week are one Dwayne Wade and CP3.
Yo, players of the week like
what's their stat?
These days, I'm about to say the players of the week like a blast from the past. D-Wade, the Heat went 3-1 last week. He averaged 24.5 points, 4 assists, 2.25 steals, and he shot 53.2% from the field. And that includes a 13 of 18 performance and a victory over his BFF, LeBron James, and the Cleveland Cavaliers back on the 16th. He gave them 32 points. CP3 and the Clips went 4-0. He averaged 26 points per game, 11.3 assists. He had 30 and 11 in a victory over Sacramento. And then he gave 30 and 15 assists to the Washington Wizards in a blowout. He had 45 assists versus 7 turnovers in the 4 games all last week.
Man,
come on,
crazy.
CP3. CP3 is tired of hearing everybody say that these 3, 4, 5 guards out there are better than him. So he's trying to show everybody what
a couple things on that, man. Watching D-Wade play this week, man, he must be drinking noni juice because he showed like he looked like the old D-Wade a couple of times. I was like, dang, what's going on? Like, was he saving this or I forgot who said now he's not flashing.
Bangs.
Yeah, I'm like, he's dunking again. Like, what the hell happened?
I want to explain that to our listeners who are in the under 30 crowd, because we have a good demographic there. We do well with the youngsters. And you gentlemen probably notice when you hit that 30-year-old wall, it's not that you can't do it anymore. It's just sometimes you can.
Your body.
Sometimes you
Your
can't.
body.
Sometimes you feel like it. Sometimes you don't. And I think at this point in the season, he's kind of reached that age where he's going to try and peak athletically, physically, and health-wise at the right time going into the playoffs. So I think that I'm not really surprised by this because I never thought that D-Wade lost it athletically. I just think he's never really healthy through an 82-game season. So now he's just peaking at that time. You know, I don't see him falling off before the age of say 34, 35. So he's got a season or 2 left where he's going to show you this towards the middle of an NBA season, towards the end, the stretch run, the playoffs. You're going to see the old Dwayne Wade you're used to. You're just not going to see that through 82.
You know what? And it's interesting, y'all.
Can you stay healthy?
Right. Yeah.
Because my thing is when you start playing the way the old D-Wade plays, it's hard to stay healthy playing that way. I mean, he was out there this past week.
Nah, he's smarter. He's smarter. No, he picks his spots. I watch him closely. As I've watched and kind of compare and contrast him to the other greats, Mike, Kobe, even Al, you know, even Bubba Chuck towards the end there, or Sam Cassell, or even my man Chauncey. Go ahead, Dad. Take your shot.
How about Rashawn Leonard? Rashawn Leonard too.
You's a hater.
He trying to sneak in his favorites.
Come on, can we agree? Can we agree that Sam was great? Can we agree that Sam was great?
Man.
My point being, stop hating. Y'all niggas is hating, man. He was great.
Sam was very good.
All right, he's the greatest ugly player of all time.
I can accept that. So my point being that he's even though he goes hard, pause. He's not the same as he was 8 years ago, falling all over the place. I mean, he'll look at you and say, all right, it's time for you to learn. He'll go to the rack, get a bang or two, let you know. And then from there, he might not jump the rest of the game. He might just pivot you to death and get some tough lanes.
Jump at all?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, because I don't know, if casual fans notice. Yeah, I'm about to say he has amazing footwork, always have. The interesting part is if it ended today, Miami will be playing Cleveland in the first round, and I would love that matchup at full strength, man. I would love to see Bosch on it because personally, I would give them a chance just because, they know LeBron a little better than everyone else. I would give them a chance in that series. I mean, Cleveland is playing way better in the second half of the season than they did in the first, but this would just be a really, really interesting matchup if Miami could go in there.
So that would make it interesting because you would have that in the East, and then in the West possibly OKC is the AC against like Golden State. Like that would be amazing in the playoffs. Shout out to Ezra, Idiot Sports Talk, who said that OKC is about to be the greatest 8 seed of all time. But it's the other player of the week, CP3. Like watching him play too, I think he's right. He always plays with a chip on his shoulder. He seems to be more pissed right now. I don't know what's going on. Probably because Doc got his son playing a little bit, taking some of his minutes. So
that means
I know
all point guards.
I know with him
your cups when you play against the Clippers.
I know with him, Jimmy, it directly correlates to the amount of noise that's going on around Steph, Westbrook, Teague, all these other point guards. He's tired of hearing it. That's the way he is.
He talked to him. I know.
He cut from that cloth. He has a little bit of that in him where, oh, y'all gonna talk about them? All right, y'all must have forgot. Let me pull the Uzi out real quick. Shoot at these dudes.
And by the way, real quick, the greatest thing watching the Clippers play this week, and I told Dev this, we were talking this past week, is they were showing Clipper highlights, and CP3, as a matter of fact, DeAndre Jordan got a block, and then, came back down, CP3 hit him with an oop, and he dunked on everybody, and they were like, Shaq, what do you think about DeAndre? He was like, yo, he's better than Dwight. Dwight had nothing to do with the segment. He had nothing to do with the highlights.
Yo, Shaq is the funniest hater ever. He's the funniest.
But I died laughing because I think Shaq might hate Dwight more than B. Austin does.
We need to get that soundbite. Superman.
Superman. Shaq can't hate him. He's not good enough. Dwight's not good enough for Shaq to hate. Like, put this all in perspective. Now, y'all know I go at Shaq's head for being lazy and underachieving, but he's good enough, and he's in the all-time great category. Even with all that being said,
I get your point.
Yeah, he's too good to even worry about Dwight, man. He's offended.
But I think he's offended by that nigga. There's so many people that tried to compare them. They gave boy Shaq nickname, so he gonna always go on dude no matter what.
But I think at this point it might be like part shtick. Like I think it's maybe tongue in cheek where he knows that he's known for hating him, so now he just takes it a step further because that had nothing to do with the highlight, nothing to do with anything.
It's tongue in cheek. It's tongue in cheek, but it's true. It's tongue in cheek, but it's true.
It's definitely funny. But speaking of CP3 and great point guards, or maybe not speaking of CP3 and great point guards, Steve Nash officially announced his retirement. Where do you guys think Nash fits all time when you look at his body of work, the MVPs that he stole from Kobe and Shaq? When you look at what he was able to do in Phoenix, because he didn't do anything for the Lakers, but where do you think Steve Nash falls?
He stole money from y'all for the past couple of years.
He robbed him.
Oh, and they said he's basically known since October that he played in his final NBA game. He just wasn't saying nothing, but his body just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, he getting that money.
So where is he all time? Where you going?
I hate to touch on this too sharply because we got some things coming on the War Room Sports TV.com channel regarding this, but I will say that in his own right, Steve Nash is great, and his greatness is rooted in his efficiency and effectiveness and utilization of talent. Whether you consider him as talented as other PGs or not, which I don't, there are guys that came into the league around his time, before him, with him, and after, who are way more athletically talented, but never utilized that talent and maximized it the way Steve Nash did. You know, because if you analyze his shooting percentages, he is one of the best. He is a top 5 shooter in NBA history, period. By the percentages, 3-point, mid-range, foul shooting, layups, Steve Nash is top 5, maybe top 3 ever in terms of percentages over his career. Through 6, he was in the league 18 years, and I know Jimmy's going to poop on that because 3 of those years all he was doing was stealing. He really wasn't playing. But through 18 seasons, he was double-digit assists 6 seasons and led the NBA 5 seasons with double-digit assists. One of the most prolific passers. He's 3rd all-time in assists behind your man Magic and Stockton. I had to take off my bias because I feel as though I had some bias towards him because he's not athletic, and there's some deficiencies in his game that are glaring. Like defensively, I know, face it, fans aren't going to really weigh defense as much as offense, but defensively, he was criminally negligent. He was negligent. He was not there a lot of times on defense. And here's the thing, and the thing that makes it, in a way, it makes it worse. In a way, I forgive him.
As far as Stockton, Kidd, Nash, Mark Jackson.
Stockton, Kidd.
That just want to give a shout out to Jason Kidd. That's all.
Shout out to Kidd.
Yeah, true. But
Stockton is way ahead of everybody.
The thing that makes it bad is Nash was trying. Yo, he was trying to play defense, and he was that bad. Everybody else that we know of that's terrible like him just isn't giving any effort. Nash just could not.
Here's the thing. Let me chime in real quick with Steve Nash, because for me, he's one of the more difficult players to judge or critique or even like give my opinion of, because it's like the system he played in for all those years allowed him to put up the crazy numbers.
7 seconds or less is what it's called.
Yeah, but
7 shots, 7 seconds.
He definitely was efficient, and you're right. He wasn't athletic, but he got he was a hard worker, until later in his career, obviously. But he seemed to always put it out there, and he was criminally negligent, as you would say, on defense. But he made you pay for it on the other end. Lightning fast. But when I think of him, I do think of efficient, but also I can't help but to think of that system that he played in. And if he played in a more traditional system, which he did in Dallas, but we didn't hold him in such a high regard when he played in Dallas because he wasn't in that system.
He seemed like he was just a good point guard.
That made a difference.
Exactly. So it's like I don't even know how to judge him, to be honest. I don't know how to judge him because
and you know why, Jimmy, you know why it's difficult? You know why it's difficult? You know why it's difficult for you? Because you've seen other point guards in that system and their numbers exploded. Raymond Felton put up like 17 and 7 in that system, and he is trash. He is utter trash.
And here's the thing, right? He's going to make the Hall of Fame. He's a 2-time MVP. He started Shaq. But the thing is, when I think about the greatest point guards of all time, his name will never, ever, ever pop in my head. Even when I think about the greatest point guards that I've seen play, forget all time, just the guys that I've witnessed play, his name still will never come up.
Yeah, what Jimmy, what you just mentioned, in my opinion, is why it's so difficult to judge Steve Nash, especially if you're a basketball purist and you look past the subjective awards and you can go deeper than statistics and things like that. Those two MVPs makes judging Steve Nash damn near impossible, because I think Steve Nash is a very good point guard. If you're gonna say like all-time great, even if you throw him in that category, okay, let's maybe throw him at the bottom of the all-time great point guard category, however many guys that's comprised of. I never really looked at him as an MVP level player though, but he has 2 of those that'll never be taken away. So I think a lot of people are going to overrate his status in history because of those subjective awards. I don't know. It's really difficult because I love this game. I definitely love this game. Go ahead, B.
In one of those MVP years, Kobe averaged 35, like 6 and 5. And the second year, Kobe averaged, in the second one, he averaged like 32, 6 and 5. Now, here's what I was going to ask you. The first year he won it, he averaged 11 and a half assists. And the second year he won it, he averaged 10 and a half assists and 18. So he was averaging 18.8 and 10 and a half. And then the first year he's averaging 15.5 and 11 and a half. Where do you value those assists? Like, don't just look at the scoring numbers, because that's probably what makes it so difficult, because Kobe was averaging 20 more.
No, I mean, the reason why Steve Nash was an MVP candidate in the first place is because of what his presence, or what they think his presence did for that team. Remember, they had Stephon Marbury before that, with, at least for the first year, with basically the same team. Steve Nash goes over there, and that team all of a sudden becomes one of the powers in the Western Conference. So that's what I give him. Steve Nash makes a team better. And I'm not saying that from a cliche individual standpoint where people say, oh, he makes his teammates better. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Steve Nash on your team makes your team a better team. Your record is going to be better because you have Steve Nash on your team in his prime. Even in Dallas, like we said, he wasn't the same guy. We didn't hold him up so high. But, they were a good team, you know what I'm saying? And Cuban wanted them back. He surely wanted them back. But Phoenix was a better situation for him. So for me, it's so difficult because you always got to think about those two MVPs. But there's a lot of people out there who might not have agreed with those MVPs. So they don't hold him in regards of being an MVP player, even though you really have no choice because he won them. So I don't know where I would put him all time. But I mean, he's high on the list, but I don't say he's not Stockton, Magic, Isaiah, Oscar Robinson, not even a Gary Payton. He's not those guys to me.
Listen to Casey Mack said on Twitter. He said he hit us up on Twitter and said that Dallas won a chip when he left. So shout out to him because
that's because they got J Kidd. They got an all-time great.
And also it is sports talk to some in our chat room that I totally agree with. The first MVP that he got, Shaq should have won. Shaq had some wild numbers. That first Nash,
he took one from two Lakers,
like 30 and 15 or something crazy.
Shaq was Shaq. It was Kobe, Shaq, and there was someone else.
One from Shaq and one from Kobe.
Yeah,
but my point is, it's difficult because of the system also. That system that he played in, even though they had Marbury or Starbury, whatever you want to call him, he's just one of the more difficult. Now, of course, he's a great player. Was he an all-time great like Dev said? I wouldn't put him there, but he's a great player.
I can name 10 point guards that are better than him. I can name 10 point guards that are better.
All right, we'll get into this later. It's another story that I definitely wanted to hear your gentleman's opinion on. Because this, hits close to home. I just told Rob, I said there's certain athletes that,
I was just gonna make one point. I found a fact on the internet that said in those MVP seasons, the majority of the time Sean Marion guarded the opposing team's point guard because Nash couldn't. But we knew that.
Something else, more fuel for my fire. But listen though, here's something that hits close to home in the war room land, because there are certain athletes who reach a certain level where we don't care what they do. Like, you cannot slander them to us. And there's two guys I can name off the top of my head who fit that. One is Allen Iverson and one is Mike Tyson. Exempt from all slander when it comes to war room sports. We can laugh at him, but you can't. With that being said, Allen Iverson, a.k.a. Bubba Chuck, has expressed interest in joining the 76ers front office. I had so many thoughts cross my mind when I heard this story. I
will never slander AI. I will never slander AI, but I'm just gonna say nah. And I've heard a lot of people. We always go. We go on Thursdays, so I get to hear everybody else talk about stuff. And I heard a lot of guys taking the other direction, saying, he's a ball player, he's played at a high level, and he knows talent when he sees it, this and that, because that's what he's talking about. He's thinking he could basically tell the Sixers. He said, "Quote: I would like to even be in the war room, even if they don't go with my decision or whatever, just to have an opinion.
Yeah, he can come on our show.
What I think and trust in the organization to do is right." So I don't know if I'm letting Allen Iverson, have a hand in picking the talent. What they're saying is he could probably judge Hart better than everybody else because he know what kind of dude he was.
Here's my thing, right? And I'm gonna go before B. Austin because B. Austin is by far the biggest Allen Iverson stan to walk the earth, and B. Austin will basically tell you that he was in the bowl. Now it wasn't AI. He may take the rap for him, so I'm gonna go before B. Austin's able to speak.
He probably was in the bowl.
I think that the Sixers have to find a spot for him. I'm gonna tell you why. Allen Iverson has continually repped this team in this city since the day he's left. Like, he does stuff that's just like random. Like, he'll tweet out randomly, "I'm a Sixer for life." Like,
he even came back.
Just random stuff that he does. He came back. He's always here. He was here. This dude got on stage last week at the Mill. He walked on with a Dickie suit on the Meek Mill show. Like, that was in Philly. Like, he is Philly. He reps the city. He's embraced by the city. I'm not sure where you can put him. Now, you can't just make AI your general manager, but you have to find a spot for him. A lot of these great organizations look out for their best players, right? We talk about what the Hawks have done for Dominique Wilkins, what the Lakers did for Magic, before Dr. Bus passed and his son ruined the entire franchise and legacy. A lot of these teams take their best players and, they kind of build that family atmosphere. The Sixers traditionally have never done that. I was so sad to see Dr. J have to go to Orlando to get a job, like what Dr. J meant to this city. You know what I mean? It's kind of sad to see him. So now they have another opportunity to make
Moses and World Be Free.
Yeah, you want to get World Be Free a gig, but Dr. J got to go to Orlando? Like, really? But my thing is, AI isn't. I think it's not even questionable. He's a top 5 Sixer of all time, arguably top 3, maybe top 2. But you got to find a spot for him. Maybe they make up a position because here's the one thing I can say: AI relates to a lot of these young kids in the city that want to play basketball. So you can find something for him. Maybe just don't throw him in as your main scout, or just find somewhere for him to be.
Sit him in the box, and I guarantee you that attendance will go up. Just like in Washington, when Jordan came before he played, he just used to come once a week and sit up in the owner's box where people could see him, and everybody would come buy tickets just so they can go look in the owner's box like there wasn't a game going on the floor. Just let Allen Iverson walk around the concourse.
What is wrong with this world? Anyway,
the world is a bunch of groupies, man. Just let AI walk the concourse. You might not get people in the seats, but you'll get tickets sold.
That's what World Be Free do. Yeah, World Be Free straight be in the Sixers, just walking around speaking to people. Like, but I don't know what his title is.
Though. Nobody want to see him. Like, half the people don't even recognize him. If AI walk the concourse, he gonna need
only reason you know World Be Free is because he wears loud suits.
Yeah.
B. Austin, I'm going to allow you to speak now, man. I know you
we're about to go off the air.
I was hoping that you would keep going so that I wouldn't even have to weigh in on this. There's AI agent calling now. I had a conversation with him, trying to get him in the war room since he wants to be in the war room. Allen Iverson. The easiest thing for me to do is just follow suit with what y'all said. Give him a consultant's position, allow him to do community outreach, further endear the franchise to the city by allowing him to touch the youth, not even the youth, because as you said, there's a lot of the world is Stanley's and group.
He gonna get on that list.
But you know what though?
Like
a lot of these kids, a lot of these kids in Philly still love him.
Yo, he's a hero. No. They relate because he's one of them dudes. Like him being a dumb young boy and never growing up. Like kids relate to it. Like he's the reason that they all walk around here with all of these tattoos. Like they don't know it, but they do kind of know it. Like they relate to him. So that's one. That's
everybody wears the youth. Everybody wears the arm sleeve.
The arm sleeve.
Their elbows don't even be hurting. Like, they don't even know why.
The crazy part. AI could have
Carmelo Anthony will still carry his luggage.
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony will still. Yeah, he could have. Carmelo will still carry.
That's the difference between, say, AI and LeBron and his team. If LeBron would have did that, he would have came out with his own like brand of arm wrap and made a gazillion dollars.
Sleeves.
Maverick would have. If this GM thing doesn't go away and they seriously entertain it, then what they would have to do is create some sort of internship program and put him with a D-League.
GM though. He just want to be a part of the decision making. He don't want to be the GM. He know that.
Well, we know decision making is management. So you put him in an internship program, let him do it at a D-League level, see if that works. If he's willing to humble himself and do it that way, it could work out. It could work out because I'm not under the assumption that dude is stupid. We gotta go. Yeah,
they gotta put him in a position. They gotta put him in a position where he doesn't have to wear a suit. Because the last time we seen AI in a suit, he was going to court. With that being said, thanks for joining us in the War Room, good people. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, those on Facebook and Twitter, the calls who chimed in. We appreciate it. Those we didn't get to, we apologize. Hit us up next week. Special thanks to Fred Perdue for joining us to talk spring football. Listen, WRS Podcast Network. Check us there, or check us back here live next week. We'll be talking Final Four and anything and everything else happening in sports. So until then, enjoy your tournament and your sports week. We'll see you here. Don't forget, warroomsports.com. Go to all of our social media, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, wherever it may be. You can find all of those links at warroomsports.com. You can find links to War Room Sports TV as well as the War Room Sports Podcast Network. Again, at warroomsports.com. Until next time, everybody, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we shall see you chumps on top.
Shout out Alfred Payton. Stop hating on Kevin Love for telling the truth. Russell Westbrook MVP.
6 to 8. Yeah. War Room Sports. Y'all ready? Let's go. Stay in tune to Jimmy, know the blueprint. Yo, every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev, PJ, B. Austin, Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. If not, dial 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Yeah. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like Magic in the box course. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip hop scholars, tip stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, DJ, Shot Back, B. Austin. I'm Chop. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports. www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.